Today, while this video series 15, let us understand how to prepare the CMA form number 3, which is also called as balance sheet spread. To enable you to understand the preparation, I have brought a real balance sheet of a company, and then let us go and understand how these items are reclassified. When the balance sheet is analyzed as per the form number 3, the first one which comes is the current liability, followed by term liability, then comes the net worth. After the net worth, the current assets comes, then comes the fixed assets, then comes the non-current asset, and then comes the intangible assets. This is how the balance sheet form number 3 is prepared. The first one, current liability, then term liability, then net worth, then current asset, fixed asset, non-current asset, and intangible asset. Current liability, we are all aware that any liability which the company has to pay within a period of 12 months come under current liability. Here the first starting point will be short-term borrowing from bank. Then all other current liabilities excluding this will start appearing. All those together will be called as other current liabilities. So current liabilities means including the short-term borrowing and the other current liabilities is what is called a current liability, followed by term liability. In the balance sheet, we call it as a non-current liability, whereas in this case, any liability which is to be paid to outsiders after a period of 12 months is classified as term liability. Net worth is nothing but the shareholders fund. It includes the capital reserve and surplus. Followed by, we go to the asset side. In the asset side, the first one which comes is the current assets. I have told you earlier that any asset which can be convertible into cash in the next 12 months and which is also a part of the working capital cycle will appear under current assets. Anything which does not satisfy any of these conditions will have to move to the non-current asset. After that, we have the fixed assets, the non-current assets, and the intangible assets. Actually, the intangible assets in the balance sheet format is a part of the fixed assets. We remove that and put it separately as the banker do not consider any value for the intangible asset. Let us now look at the balance sheet that we have. First, let us go to the equity and liability side. In the balance sheet format, the first item which comes is a shareholders fund, share capital, reserves and surplus. In the company's format, which is prescribed by the Companies Act, there are two more items. One is the money received against share warrants and application money received pending allotment of shares. But those things will appear only in cases where the company has gone for IPO or FPO in the recent past. So normally the item which come under shareholders funds are share capital, reserves and surplus. The reserve can be of various types. The capital redemption reserve, debenture redemption reserve, revaluation reserve, subsidy reserve. Any reserve for that matter will come under shareholders funds. And the reserve indicates the money or the profit generated up to the year before last and retained in the business, whereas the surplus indicates the profit that is generated in the immediately preceding financial year and retained in the business. And in the balance sheet, next one is a non-current liability, that is any liability which is to be paid after a period of 12 months, like term loan from bank, unsecured loans, long-term provisions, etc. will come under non-current liabilities. I have told you earlier, the long-term provision is nothing but a amount payable after a period of say 12 months for which a portion of the profit is carved out and kept as a provision. Say for example, gratuity or provident fund payable to those who are retiring say after 3 years or 5 years. Then comes the current liabilities. It is short-term borrowing from bank. That is nothing but the working capital finance, trade payables, the money that is to be paid to the supplier, and any short-term provisions. That is any provision which is to be met in the next 12 months. A crystallized liability like payment of dividend, payment of taxes, etc. And outstanding expenses and expenditure which is not paid but payable. It has become due for payable but not paid during the last 1 year. And any advances received from clients along with the order when I am getting an advance from the client. Current maturity of the term loan is actually the term loan outstanding here is 2970 plus 80. That is actual outstanding as on 31st is 3770, of which 800 becomes payable in the next 12 months. That is the reason why we take it out and show it as a current liability. Now let us first understand how do we reclassify it. First item which comes here is the current liability, and the current liability, the first item which will come is the short-term borrowing from bank. And we have to give a bifurcation out of the short-term borrowing, how much is the bill purchase and bill discounting. As I have told you earlier, the bill purchase or bill discounting for balance outstanding will not appear on the balance sheet, but will be shown as a contingent liability in the notes. So what we have to do is, we have to find out what is the contingent liability occurring on account of BP and BD, add it to the current liability side as along with the short-term borrowing, add it to the trade receivables on the asset side. So the first one is, it could be possible that the company had availed credit facility from different banks. So bank A, bank B, so subtotal is coming here. Then comes all other current liabilities which have to be paid within the next 12 months. These are labeled as other current liabilities. So other current liabilities generally means any current liability excluding the bank borrowing, that is mainly the working capital borrowing. Now trade payables 8520, sundry creditors, anything which is not related to trade but is payable comes there. Short-term provisions, as I told you, these liabilities, outstanding expenses, advances received, current maturity of term loan, all these will appear as other current liabilities. Now we will total all these things and show it as a other current liabilities. Then comes the total current liability. Total current liability is the other current liabilities plus the short-term borrowing from the bank. So this part is very clear. There is no much of a confusion required there. Now we have classified the items which come under current liabilities. Next we have to go to the term liabilities. Let us see what are the term liabilities. When you come to the term liabilities, you look here, non-current liabilities, it is labeled, but in our analysis you will classify that as a term liability. Term means anything payable after a period of 12 months. For example, term loan from bank, that is excluding the amount payable in the next 12 months, that comes. Unsecured loans, the bank has to satisfy that the unsecured loans will be retained in the business and will not be repaid in the next 12 months. After ensuring that they are retained in the business beyond a period of 12 months, classify them as term liability. And long-term provisions. Long-term provisions we have already said, that is any provision that is made to meet a liability which may occur after a period of 12 months. So we have total term liability, that is a sum of term loan from bank, unsecured loan and long-term provisions, and total outside liability. Total outside liability means current liability plus term liability is known as total outside liability. That is what is to be paid to outsiders is current liabilities plus term liability. What is to be paid to the owners is called net worth. So we have first one, the current liability, the short-term borrowing from bank, then other current liabilities, then we have the total current liabilities. Then we go to the term liability. We add up all the term liabilities, total term liability, then current liability plus total term liability will give you total outside liability. Then comes the net worth, that is owner's fund, share capital, reserves and surplus. Then the total liabilities will appear there. 417.55. Okay, now let us move to the asset side. When you go to the asset side, we have learned the balance sheet format prescribes non-current assets first, then current assets. Non-current assets is again divided into fixed assets, then long-term loans and advances, then non-current investment, then other non-current liabilities. So now then comes the current assets. But when we analyze the balance sheet, the first one that will come is current assets, followed by fixed asset, non-current asset and intangible assets. Because the current asset is the one which is to be converted into cash in the next 12 months. And current liability is what is to be paid in the next 12 months. So like the current liability comes first on the liability side, here the what comes is the current assets, followed by fixed assets, followed by non-current asset, followed by intangible assets. Now we look at here. The first item which will appear here is cash in hand and cash at bank, which includes the fixed deposit also. Second one is trade receivables. If you look here, there are two trade receivables. Trade receivables less than 6 months, trade receivables more than 6 months. Less than 6 months will appear here as a current asset, and that more than 6 months, which is found to be difficult to get it converted into cash, will move to the non-current assets. Then inventories, the raw materials, semi-finished goods, finished goods. So also the consumables will appear as inventories. And any advance payment of tax, because the tax is nothing but a fee paid on the profit generated. So whenever in the working capital cycle a sale is happening, a profit is generated. So any advance payment of tax is a part of the working capital cycle. The next one is there are two short-term loans, advances. One is to the employees, one is to the promoters. For the employees, we utilize their services to produce. So naturally, the short-term advance to employees is a part of the working capital cycle, whereas the short-term advance to the promoters will go to the non-current assets. Then we have the advance paid to the supplier of raw material. Naturally, it is a part of the working capital cycle. Then comes the total current assets. Now, when you go to the fixed assets, actually in the pro forma which is given by the Companies Act, the depreciated value of the fixed assets are given. And if you want to know more about it, you may have to go to that particular note and then find out. So we have to go there, find out what is the gross block. That is what is the original purchase price of these fixed assets. Then reduce the cumulative depreciation and arrive at the depreciated value. Then add the capital work in progress. That is, capital work in progress is nothing but any incompleted assets, fixed assets. So we remove the intangible assets from here and then move to the intangible assets. So we get total fixed assets. So when you come to the asset side, the first one is the current assets. Only those items which satisfy two conditions will appear under current assets. That is, the asset is a part of the working capital cycle. The second one is the asset is convertible into cash in the next 12 months. Once that is done, we go to the fixed asset, gross block, less cumulative depreciation, net block. And if there is any capital work in progress, you add that. Now we have the total current asset, total fixed asset. Now we move on to the non-current assets. If you look at the non-current asset, already you have long-term loans to a group firm, non-current investment, security deposit. These three cannot be converted into cash. So naturally, they are coming under non-current assets. Then the short-term advance to promoters, because it is not related to the working capital or the working capital cycle, we have removed it here. And any short-term investment. See, any investment, irrespective of whether it is a short-term or long-term, it is a non-current asset for a banker, because we are financing the current assets. So if investment happens to be inside the current assets, it means that bank is providing working capital to enable the company to make investment in the capital market. So any investment whether it is current investment or a long-term investment or a non-current investment, has to go to the non-current assets. Then naturally the trade receivables more than 6 months, and we come to the total non-current assets. Then comes the intangible asset. In this case, there was an intangible asset which is a part of the working cap, fixed assets. That is now moved to the intangible assets. So the current liability, term liability, net worth, that is the equity and liability side. And coming to the asset side, we have the current assets, fixed assets, non-current assets, and intangible assets. This is how the reclassification of the various items of the balance sheet is done, which is what is called as a balance sheet spread. Now let us think about the major financial ratios based on the balance sheet. Now you look here, the first one is the current ratio. We have the current assets, we have the current liabilities. How much is the current assets do I have which can be converted into cash in the next 12 months to meet my liabilities which are arising within the next 12 months? It is 1.14. Whether it is satisfactory or not, it depends on the lending policy of the bank. We have to find out whether it satisfies, or is it that the bank is looking for 1.25 or 1.35, in which case we may have to stipulate such conditions which will improve the current ratio. Next is debt to T&W. First we will have to find out the tangible net worth. Tangible net worth is the net worth minus intangible asset. This is nothing but the capital reserve and surplus minus intangible assets. Because for a banker, the intangibles doesn't have any value. So naturally we remove that to find out the actual strength of the business. Now the tangible net worth comes to 7415. Debt to T&W. Debt means term debt. Always it is a term liability. So term liability divided by tangible net worth, it gives 1.59. That means the leveraging or the dependence on the outside debt is 1.59 times of the company's tangible net worth. Then total outside liability to tangible net worth, it is 4.36. That means the whatever may be the tangible net worth the company is having, the outsiders fund is 4.36 times. Then we are trying to find out the margin for working capital, and we know margin for working capital is the surplus of the long-term sources over long-term uses. Here long-term sources is equal to the term liability plus net worth. Because we know that on the liability side, current liability is a short-term source, term liability is a long-term source, net worth is also a long-term source. So we are adding the term liability plus net worth to arrive at the long-term sources. When it comes to long-term uses, we have the fixed assets plus the non-current assets plus the intangible assets. So when you look at the asset side, the current asset is a short-term use of fund, whereas the fixed asset, non-current asset and intangible assets are long-term uses of fund. Now we get the margin for working capital, that is from the long-term sources we are directing the long-term uses and arriving at the margin. So there is a margin. Suppose it is otherwise, the long-term uses are greater than the long-term sources, it means that the margin is not sufficient enough to meet the margin for working capital. I think you have understood what is meant by the balance sheet spread or the CMA form number 3. It's a very simple one to do it. To summarize, we are equity and liability side gets divided into 3: current liability, term liability, and the net worth, and the asset side gets divided into 4 times. That is current asset, fixed asset, non-current asset, and intangible assets. See, the idea is to ensure that the right item goes to the right place. If it is otherwise, it could be possible that we may be making a wrong assessment about the company. Thank you very much. In the next video, we will come out with a new topic in banking. And if you have understood it, liked it, subscribe to this channel and press the like button. Thank you very much.